Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dee. I'm a virtual fitness specialist here with Premise Health, and today I'll be talking about how hydration plays a key role in your energy levels, your focus, and your overall performance, both in your workouts and in your everyday life. Today, we're going to break things down into a few simple parts so it's easy to follow and actually apply. First, we'll talk about why hydration is such a big deal, especially if you have a busy 9 to 5 schedule or spend most of your day working, sitting, or on the go. A lot of people don't realize how quickly hydration can impact how they feel, even before anything else in their routine comes into play. Then we'll go over some common signs of dehydration that people often miss or ignore. These aren't always obvious symptoms like being extremely thirsty. It can show up in more subtle ways that people usually attribute to stress, like lack of sleep or having a long day. Next, we'll connect the dots between hydration, energy, focus, and even how your body feels physically. This is where it becomes really interesting because hydration doesn't just affect workouts, it affects how you think, how you move, and how consistently you can perform throughout the day. And finally, I'll share some simple, realistic strategies you can actually stick with. Nothing extreme, nothing complicated, just easy habits that fit into a normal routine. Even if you're busy and don't think about water often, no gallon of water jugs required. Hydration versus energy. What's really going on? When we think about low energy, we usually jump to conclusions like, I need more sleep, I'm out of shape, or I just need to push harder. But one of the most overlooked factors is actually hydration. The relationship between hydration and energy is a lot stronger than most people realize. Even mild dehydration, something you might not even notice, can start to affect how your body feels and how your brain performs. And the tricky part is, dehydration doesn't always show up as obvious thirst. A lot of people expect to feel very thirsty if they're dehydrated. But in reality, the signs are usually much more subtle. It can show up as low energy, difficulty focusing, slower thinking, or just feeling like everything requires a little more effort than usual. This is especially common in busy 9 to 5 routines. You might start your day feeling fine, but as you get deeper into work, meetings, emails, sitting at your desk, you gradually start to feel more drained without realizing why. That afternoon crash a lot of people experience isn't always just from stress or lack of sleep. Hydration plays a much bigger role than most people think. Even things like headaches, irritability, or constantly craving snacks can sometimes be your body's way of signaling that it needs water, not food or caffeine. And the key point here is awareness. Most people simply aren't tracking their hydration closely enough to connect the dots. So instead of immediately assuming you need more caffeine or more motivation, it's worth asking a simpler question. Have I actually had enough water today? How dehydration shows up in everyday life. Now that we know how hydration and energy are connected, the next question is, how does dehydration actually show up in real life? Because most of the time, it doesn't look obvious. It's not like you suddenly feel extremely thirsty or stop functioning. Instead, it shows up in small, everyday ways that people usually don't connect back to water intake. One of the most common signs is that mid-afternoon energy crash. You start the day feeling okay, but after a few hours of work, your energy drops and everything feels harder than it should. Most people blame this on stress, workload, or needing caffeine. But hydration is often a part of the equation. Another big one is brain fog. You might notice it takes longer to focus. You reread emails, you feel mentally slower than usual. This can be easily mistaken for being tired or distracted, but it can also be linked to not drinking enough water throughout the day. Headaches and irritability are also really common. And again, these are often written off as stress or screen time. But dehydration can make both of these feel worse. Something else people don't always expect is increased cravings. You might find yourself reaching for snacks, sweets, or caffeine more often. Not because you're actually hungry, but because your body is trying to compensate for low energy. And the important thing to understand here is that none of this feels extreme. It's subtle. It's the kind of thing you notice, but don't really question. You just feel a little off. And that's why hydration gets overlooked so often. It doesn't usually feel like a clear problem, but it quietly affects how you feel throughout the entire day. How hydration powers your workout and your day. So now let's bring this to a full circle. How does hydration actually impact your workouts? And even if you're not someone who considers themselves a gym person, this still applies. A workout can be anything from a gym session to a run to a fitness class, or even just feeling more energized throughout your day. First, hydration directly affects your energy before you even start moving. If you're slightly dehydrated, your body is already working harder just to maintain basic function. So when you go into a workout, it feels like you're starting at a disadvantage without realizing it. Next is endurance. When you're well hydrated, your body is better at regulating temperature and delivering energy to your muscles. When you're not, everything tends to feel harder sooner. You might feel like you're getting tired faster than usual, even if the workout itself isn't that intense. Hydration also affects how your body actually moves. Things like muscle tightness, stiffness, or even minor cramps can show up more when you're not drinking enough water. So movement doesn't feel as smooth or efficient. And after the workout, hydration plays a big role in recovery. It helps your body reset, reduces how sore you feel later, and supports overall recovery so you're not dragging into the next day. The bigger picture here is consistency. When you're properly hydrated, your performance becomes more stable. You don't have as many unpredictable energy crashes or days where everything feels harder than it should. So it's not about drinking water just for the workout. It's about setting your body up for success so the workout actually feels better, and so your everyday energy improves at the same time. Because at the end of the day, hydration doesn't just support fitness, it supports how you show up in everything you do. Simple ways to stay hydrated that actually stick. So now that we understand how hydration actually affects energy and how dehydration shows up in everyday life, the real question is, what do we actually do about it? And the good news is, this doesn't require extreme habits or complicated routines. Let's clear up a couple common myths first. Myth 1, you need to drink a gallon of water a day for it to matter. Not true. Consistency matters far more than hitting a huge number. Myth 2, if you're not thirsty, you're fine. Also not true. By the time you feel thirsty, you may already be slightly dehydrated. So instead of overcomplicating it, the focus should be on simple habits that actually stick. Start with the easiest one. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. After sleep, your body naturally starts the day slightly dehydrated. So this helps reset you before anything else. Next, make water visible. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But if it's right next to you, on your desk, in your bag, or in your car, you'll naturally drink more water without thinking about it. Then, instead of trying to drink a lot at once, just sip consistently throughout the day. Small, steady intake is easier to maintain and actually works better for your body. You can also link it to habits you already have, like drinking a few sips after emails, meetings, or before meals. That way, you don't have to rely on remembering it. And if plain water feels boring, that's fine. Add lemon, fruit, or electrolytes to make it more enjoyable. The takeaway is simple. You don't need perfection and you don't need extreme goals. You just need to drink a little more than you currently are, consistently. Because when hydration improves, everything else improves, like your energy, focus, and how you feel throughout the day.